Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. We are from Group 4D. Are going to present about Lab 3, Coefficient of Static Friction. Firstly, meet our group members. Muhammad Aiman bin Mahathir, Muhammad Saufi bin Ishaq, Muhammad Faris bin Muhammad Saiful Bahari, and me, Muhammad Fikri bin Hashim.
Hi everyone. We are going to present one experiment under the topic friction. This experiment basically is to determine or measure the coefficient of friction on a solid surface with different loads. So, friction is a force that will resist the relative motion of solid surface which sliding against each other. These are the two main types of friction, static friction and kinetic friction. So, to find the coefficient, we are using the derivation equation where F equals to mu K times F for kinetic friction and F equals to mu S times F for static friction.
Okay, now the apparatus that we're using for the lab experiment is wooden board, tile, rough cloth, weighing scale, sand, plastic container, and lastly is protector.
For procedure part, first, measure the mass of the sand up until 100 gram in a plastic container. Second, tilt the wooden board until sand slides down and observe the angle. Third, record the angle phi which sand starts to slide down. 4. Repeat step 2 and 3 for 3 times to find the average slide angle phi. 5. Repeat step 1 until step 4 by using 200 gram, 300, 400 and 500 gram of sand with rough cloth and tile as a surface. 6. Plot graph of sin phi versus cos phi for each surfaces. 7. Identify the gradient of the graph. For data and results, Table 1 is for the 3 trials for the slide angle of each surfaces, while Table 2 is about the average slide angle, sin phi and cos phi for each surfaces. These are the graphs that have been plotted for each surfaces, which the coefficient of static friction can be determined from the gradient of the graph and neglecting the minus sign of the gradient. Hence, the coefficient of static friction for wooden surface is 0.4317, for tile surface 0.3239, for rough cloth surface is 0.4909.
Discussion. The static friction force between the object and contact surface has been overcome. The applied force from our action that is larger than friction force of the surface make the tendency of the object to start moving. The coefficient of friction is unaffected by the mass of the object because coefficient of friction depend on the friction between the surfaces of the two objects. Fourth, the friction force increases as the mass increases because the normal force increases with mass. Fifth, the coefficient of friction varies depending on the surface. The coefficient of friction on rougher surfaces is higher than on smoother surfaces. And lastly, the rougher surface has more friction between smoother surfaces. This is because the frictional force between two objects in contact will decrease on the smooth surface.
For conclusion, to sum up the coefficient of static friction between 3 different types of surface and 5 different loads has been measured. In the experiment, we learned that different surface can affect the coefficient of static friction. The wooden surface is 04317. The trough closed surface is 04909. And tile surface is 03239. As a result, the rougher the surface area, the higher the coefficient of friction. That's all. Thank you for your attention.